Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd jump on quickly and give you guys a bit of an update about this tank. I've had quite a lot of new subscribers over the past few weeks, so I thought I'd sort of go over this tank again and show everyone, give everyone a bit of an update about what's happening with it, as well as my other K tank which I've got here, which I'm super excited about, and just waiting on a few things to get started on the upside down reef tank. Hey everyone, so I thought I'd jump on and give you all a quick update on this tank, as there's been a few changes over the past few weeks and I've had quite a number of new subscribers, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to give you all a bit of an update on it, as well as an update on this new tank here, which I am super excited to start. But yeah, anyway, so I've had a few challenges with this tank in the past few weeks. My corals have been growing really well, which is great. However, because all my SBS is kind of up the top here, it's been shading a lot of the corals down the side. For those that have watched all my other videos, you'll probably remember that I had a nice big colony of Seriatopora just in there. But literally over the course of a week, it started to get a bit of STN, and it unfortunately all died from the base up. So I think that was due to not getting enough light, because it had kind of been receding around the base for quite a while. And I'm starting to get sort of a similar thing with this here. You can see in the base there. I try and trim the corals up around here a fair bit, but they just keep growing and it's really quite difficult to keep up with it all. You can see my blue tank there, it's his favourite hiding spot in there. But yeah, so I think I'm going to have to do something with these lights here. So I think I'm either going to make sort of a bit of a bracket to extend these out and aim them down, or I was even thinking about getting some more blades and mounting them on the side there. But at the moment, I'll just keep trimming all the corals, because the rest of them are doing pretty well, sorry, in this level of light. So I don't really want to change it too much. And these are my coral gobies here. They have migrated from the acropore around the other side because they've basically stripped the entire acro because they're trying to lay eggs all the time. So now they've moved into this cabbage coral here. I'll show you the coral on this side. One of them's still hanging out in it. Yeah, just in there. Yeah. So they used to love hanging out in there. They still do a little bit, but they've kind of started to move because all these Pocelopra crabs that live up in this pocky here have started coming down and stealing their eggs at night. So I think they're looking for a new place to lay their eggs. What else? So this acropora up here, I had to adjust the flow slightly. As you can see, it's starting to get a little bit of death on the edges there. I think that's because this flow is just way too strong and it's just coming across and basically just hitting it really hard. So I've had to sort of adjust the flow to go up and over a bit more. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to trim all the corals around this edge a bit more. I'm thinking about even maybe possibly trimming this back to halfway, just to allow a bit more light down there. Because as you can see, like right in there in the little crevice, there's nothing that really grows. I've tried to keep zoas and stuff in there, but they just don't really seem to open up just because they don't get enough light. But all these gonies are doing really well. They don't get too much direct light. Like this one kind of just gets ambient light that's reflected off the back of the glass. And it seems to do pretty well. What else? So this clam's doing pretty well. He's loving life. This Montipora has started taking over that rock there. I used to have a few nice blastos on that, but he's slowly been killing them off too. So, but he kind of looks good there, so I'll just let him be. So my strawberry shortcake here has started to grow out really quite nicely. I upped my alkalinity from like sort of high 7s to high 8s recently, and that's really had a pretty decent effect on the growth of these. But at the same time, it's difficult. I'm trying to get these ones to grow out, but I don't want these ones to grow out anymore because they're too big. So it's a fine line, and you gotta choose what you want sometimes. But that's okay. I'll just keep trimming these guys. Yeah, I've got a bit of Aptasia in there. That Aptasia has been a pain in my ass, honestly. Like, I've tried that many different ways to get rid of it and it just keeps coming back. I don't really want to put a stripey in here because I don't want to risk him eating everything else. Yeah, so this bit here is looking a bit bare. I think I'm actually going to get just a few like soft corals and stuff and chuck them in there because they can do a bit better with a low light. I've got a few morphs and zoas, so I'll see how they sort of go. My hammer garden's doing pretty well. My clams, so recently when I was away, I noticed that a lot of the clams out in the wild, they had corals growing on the sides of them. So I kind of wanted to try and replicate that and see how it goes. So you can see I put a little acro on the side and a little bit of Seriatopora. So I'm keen to see how they grow out. You can also see the little urchin here. He's loving life. He's collecting stuff in tuxedo. There's another one hidden up in the corner there. They're really cool. They come out a lot at night. During the day they don't really do much. See my cleaner shrimp there. Give himself a clean. I really love these coral gobies. I think they're so cool. They've made a little home in there away from the crabs, and they're starting to lay eggs again, which is really cool. This acro here is growing out really quite nicely. But it's starting to shade a lot of the stuff under here as well, so I think I'm gonna have to trim it back, unfortunately. But yeah, I recently did a whole lot of trimming, and I've got a whole lot of corals up there in the back, which I'll have to take into uni, which we can then use on experiments and stuff like that. But yeah, in terms of coral health, everything's looking pretty good. I started dosing a lot more trace elements too, so I've seen like a lot more sort of green and red come out. Yeah, it's kind of a quick update. Everything's just ticking along nicely. I don't really know what's happening with the growth form of this acro here. It kind of keeps wanting to turn around that way, but like there's enough light up there, so I don't really know why it's not growing out that side. I've been trying to prune it, but yeah, it just does what it wants to do, so that's fine. With the tangs are starting to get a little bit big, so I'm going to try and catch them out in the next few weeks and take them into the tank at uni. But they're really quite happy and they love it in here, so it'll be sad to see them go. But I think they're sort of starting to get to that size where I think they could do with a little bit more room. But yeah, as you can see, that blue tang, he absolutely loves that little spot in there. It's so funny coming down at night and just seeing him hide in there. Yeah, I've got this other clam here which is doing pretty well. I keep moving him to the side and he just always ends up back in that little corner. So I don't know what's going on with him. Also these star polyps, I don't know about you guys, but I hate them, honestly. Like I try and pull them out and they just keep coming back and then they kill everything and it's just the pain in my ass. So yeah, let me know how you guys get rid of them because I have no idea. It's also feeding time. The fish are getting a little bit antsy because I haven't quite fed them today, so they get a bit hangry when they haven't been fed. But yeah, basically I just feed them sort of a mix of mysis, brine shrimp with spirulina and garlic in the morning. They seem to like that. They're a bit scared of the camera, so they don't really come out as much, but yeah, if I tip that in, there we go. Yeah, so I feed them frozen like 2 to 3 times a day, just to keep the nutrient levels up as well. Yeah, but they absolutely love that. Thankfully my 6-line wrasse actually had a gash on the side of it as well. I think maybe my coral banded shrimp had a go at it, and I was a bit worried about whether or not it would make it, but it's healed up really quite well. So I think adding a bit of like garlic and stuff to their diet is really good for their immune system. Additionally, as well as frozen food, you can see the pocky crab in there, or Seriatopora crab, sorry, as he is now. Yeah, they're getting quite big, so I might have to remove them. But yeah, I've started feeding them some of this as well. The aquaforest food. It's pretty decent. Traditionally, I've always kind of just fed ocean nutrition, but I think it's important to sort of vary up the diet a bit. So yeah, I've been trying this stuff. They seem to really like it. I've just been adding it into my automatic feeder up here. And yeah, it feeds it 2 to 3 times a day. It does a good job. With this tank, so unfortunately, part of living in an apartment and renting an apartment is that we have to move. So our lease ends in May next year. So I'm actually thinking about upgrading to a different sort of tank. I've got my eye on a few. But I'm just kind of thinking about what sort of new aquascapes I could do that's going to be a bit different. I'll probably transfer most of this livestock over into the new one. But yeah, I'm keen for something a bit different, I think. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. I thought while you're all here, I'll give you a quick look, top-down view look. So hang on 2 secs, and I'll turn off all the pumps. One thing I really love about AI is just how I can go into my app here, flow, pumps off, and then everything's off. But yeah, I'll give you all a quick look at the top-down view of this tank. I don't really show it too often. It's quite tricky to film sometimes. But yeah, here it is. So yeah, you can really see how much competition there is for light up here. Like everything's just growing on top of one another. It's and when you look down, it's it actually looks like there's a lot more coral than there is in here. But yeah, everything's just been growing out really nicely. Same on this side. Light. Yeah, you can see the clam. You can really see the coloration of the clam from this angle. It's just so cool. Like the guys at Monsoon have done such a good job with spawning these things. So coral goby again, wondering what the heck's happening. And this coral here, so the green one, that's actually from Groot Island. So I keep a backup of that one in this tank. I'm really loving, so the coloration, you get really cool coloration on the tops of these, which you don't really see from the sides. With my AIs, in true AI fashion, the UVs have blown out, so I don't actually run any UV. So I could actually make the corals a lot more colourful if I wanted to, but everything's happy and healthy, so I just kind of leave it. Yeah, I've got one little random one down there, which has started growing. But yeah, all in all, everything's looking pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, but I think I might have to trim some of these guys a bit. As Posilopora and Seriatopora, they kind of fight a lot. These guys don't fight too much. That's a Posilopora vericosa, and that's, I'm pretty sure, a Posilopora either Stylophora or Damacornis. They can kind of get a little bit closer, but yeah, like anything, yeah, if they start to touch, they'll fight each other as well. This Montipora down here has been doing pretty well. It's such a pain. It just grows like a weed, and often it gets a bit too top heavy and then just topples over. So I've kind of just had to wedge it in there so it won't keep falling over. I'm really loving this soft coral. I think I might get another one of them for the other side. He's been growing pretty well. Yeah, these clowns absolutely love these little gonnies. Yeah. Before I forget as well, if anyone is in the Sydney area or is around Sydney at all anytime, hit me up if you want to swap some frags. So like, I'm constantly throwing out corals from this tank, especially things like Posilopora, Montipora, even some of my acro, like I have to constantly trim that back. And I'd much rather like give it to someone or swap it with someone for something else, get a bit more diversity in here. So yeah, if you're ever around Sydney and have some frags that you want to get rid of or swap for, hit me up. Yeah, because I'd like, even though there's quite a lot of diversity in this tank, I'd like a bit more. It's always nice seeing all the different shapes and growth morphologies of these corals, and as well as the different colours. Yeah, so that's an update on this system here. So it's just ticking along nicely. So yeah, as well as, apart from getting those few extra soft corals I talked about, I think I'll kind of leave it as it is. I might try and adjust these lights, but I don't know, I can't be bothered, to be honest. Got too much other stuff going on, so I'll just keep trimming all these ones. But yeah, moving on to this tank here. I'm super excited to get this one started. So with my aquascape, I've decided I'm going to do, it's going to be an upside down tank. So we've got the lights underneath, but I'm also going to have lights on top. So the idea is I'm going to have like a small ball aquascape in the middle, and I'm just going to have corals growing all around it like that. So I think that'll be really, really cool. And just because of the depth and height of this tank, it will really allow me to sort of fill it out and make quite a decent aquascape in there. I'm actually just waiting. The only thing I'm waiting on at the moment is my mate to laser cut a bunch of acrylic. So I'm going to have an acrylic sort of inner aquascape that's going to hang off the back and allow me to pull it out whenever I want to do maintenance on it, because I was thinking about how am I going to mount corals underneath constantly. So being able to take out the aquascape, lay it down on a table and then glue all the corals in and then put it back on would be so, make life so much easier. But I've started sort of collecting everything I need to do the aquascape, so I'm going to try out some of the Aquaforest gel fix, as well as their glue and stone fix as well. I've used their stone fix previously, and it's done a really good job. But yeah, I'm super keen to get this tank started. I've started getting all my equipment ready, so I've got my Red Sea doser, my Red Sea skimmer as well. Yeah, super keen to get it started. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Hopefully either before Christmas or in the new year, I'll have a new video on that. Just depends when I can get this laser cut stuff back. But yeah, apart from that, but yeah, thanks for listening to me rattle on about my two tanks. And like I said, if you've got any comments or questions about this tank or my new build, please either leave a comment or send me a message as well. And yeah, if you're in the Sydney area and want to swap some corals, also hit me up. Yeah, I'd like a bit more diversity in this tank, and it might be nice to start collecting some corals for this one as well. But yeah, thanks all for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Cheers.